You think you're prejudiced?
Yep. Against who?
Well, let's see. Chevy Neons that cost $12,000 to buy but have $8,000 paint jobs and 9 spits inside them smoking weed. That's one thing.
Okay, now listen. The term spick. That's okay. I'll spick. Well, see, that's really not
crazy chink broads who don't know how to drive in the first place, and now they got cell phones stuck to their ears while they're doing 65 miles an hour down 6th Avenue. Right? The crazy chinks on bikes with 10 pounds of Chinese food strapped to the handlebars.
Okay, now see, the word chink is what I like to call a problem word.
If I were a chink, I'd rather be called a chink.
Okay, now hold on, listen to me, please. Chinese people would not like to be called loop or chink or pan face or zipper head.
See, that's another thing. I mean, Puerto Ricans, we get shafted even when it comes to racism. Chinks got what? Like 4 ethnic slurs? We get one. Spick. That's it. The Irish, they got Mick, Paddy, Donkey. Italians, they got Guinea, Bop, Dago.
Spaghetti bender.
Spaghetti bender went out of style during Sinatra first marriage.
Greaseball?
Yeah, greaseball. There you have it. That's 4.
That's right. You know what? Same thing with the Jews, right? Eve, Ike, Jew boy, Benny.
Shylock.
That's fine.
Yeah, black, forget about it. Spear chucker, jungle bunny, raisin head, porch monkey, spook,
Shine.
Tar baby.
Yeah, it's endless. Totally unfair.
Yeah.
All right, you know.
Good morning.
I've always put off watching that show, but that looked funny.
I've watched it some off and on over the years. It is both funny and serious, and
what show is it? I just got on. I didn't see the intro. You worked so hard on.
It's called Rescue Me.
Yeah, I heard you. I just didn't know.
I just remember being on TV.
You didn't respond, so I assumed that I didn't come through because I'm sure my internet is like super glitchy again today.
Yeah, I see. I shrugged my shoulders, so you must not have seen me.
Is
that the one with Dennis Leary?
I wasn't looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
This is
the fireman or whatever.
Yeah, they use the song "Under Pressure" on the commercials.
God, is that show still on?
Can't be. This is like 20 years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was like. I mean, that was like college, man. That was like ancient, like.
Well, now I got to look it up.
No way. Not possible.
We have to know.
I just wasn't sure why. I figured Justin had more sense than to use like an outdated television show, but maybe.
Spaghetti Bender was a new one to me.
Spear Chucker. I hadn't heard that one before. I
what?
I heard them all.
Really?
Did you not hear that one, or did you?
Or
is that one not a new one?
I totally missed it, but that's definitely not new. Like a spear throwing contest? You never heard somebody say that watching a basketball game?
Yeah, it's Justin when he's wielding a spear around. You guys ever see the South Park where all the rich people move to town, but all the rich people just happen to be black? So everyone's like racist against rich people. And it's just like their slurs for them are like cash chucker, you know. It's so fucking awesome. They go set a giant lowercase T on fire in their front yard for time to leave. It's fucking amazing, you know.
I used to stay caught up on my South Park, and then I don't know, something happened, and I feel like did they take a break for a little while?
The new ones are like a different format. I haven't been able to watch them for years, but this was one of the older ones for sure. This was back when I was in high school. Still, it was one of the good old ones. No, I think they've just been on the whole time, but it's like a different format now. It's not like each episode's individual. It's like part of a larger story, and I don't know if I just don't get the pop culture references, and that's why it's not funny to me anymore, or like if I'm too old for it. I don't know.
All right.
I still thoroughly enjoy it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I heard the COVID ones are pretty good actually, but I haven't taken the time. What's up, Carlos?
Longer COVID. Are you eating pepper for breakfast?
Strawberries.
Are you judging what he eats for breakfast?
Somebody's eating a raw pepper for breakfast. I mean,
bowls of habaneros.
I'm gonna wonder.
If he wants to eat a pepper, that's his prerogative. I've got Irish cream in my coffee. That's my prerogative.
It is, but I can judge.
I want my farts to hurt.
That's always the worst.
My wife was making fun of me right off the bat. She was like, "Are you really drinking already?" Like, what else am I gonna do today?
It'll make last night feel better.
I'm gonna get smashed and fight with my internet.
Yeah, good luck, man. Good luck. I woke up and I had to. Now we're kind of battening down the hatches a little bit. I guess we got like a tornado warning or something. So it's probably nothing, but still run around and make sure all your crap is picked up so it doesn't end up in the neighbor's yard.
Yeah, we got to get the obligatory weather talk out of the way.
Yeah, it's supposed to be cold as hell this weekend.
It was damn 89 yesterday.
I know. And what's it supposed to be on Wednesday? Or Saturday, Sunday? I don't know. When is it? Is it Wednesday?
Yeah, it's
Today
supposed
is Wednesday, so.
No, not today. Like a week from today. Jesus. Let me pull
You
this
said
up.
Wednesday.
I did. Obviously, it's not today since it's not like freezing ass cold.
I don't know what it's like there.
It doesn't matter what it's like here. It's going to be the same the world over. Weather's the same everywhere. All these changing patterns.
to 50 degrees somewhere.
It is. It's time for Eskimo bumping.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah, Saturday, dude.
Please,
62.23.
Arctic American, please.
Inuit is the
Oh, that's
proper
right. That's
term.
right. Sorry.
Inuit. Elliot.
Get in it. In it with an Inuit.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like it.
Saturday, 62.23, and like yesterday was like 80 degrees, and I'm worried, I'm concerned. It's gonna be cold. I'm gonna have to get the wood stove going again. All the blossoms on the plum trees are probably gonna freeze, and I'm not looking forward to it. I think that's gonna be the coldest it's been all freaking year down here, but
So today it's 35 with a high of 51, and on Saturday it's going to be 29 with a low of 14.
see, I don't miss that at all.
Yeah.
At all. That's like not fun. You gotta like get out and pump gas and like scrape your car and God, I remember doing brakes in Vermont when it was like 19, 20 degrees out because I wouldn't pass inspection without new brakes on it, and so I had to go put brakes on it and outside, and why is this necessary? And you know what? It's not necessary. Nobody has to live like that.
I forget about that inspection bullshit.
Do you guys have those up there?
Not here.
No.
No, I've never had one.
That's in
The only place I've lived that you had to have one. Okay, the only place that I lived that I actually had my vehicle registered with the state that I had to have one was in Mississippi, and you could just go find a local shop and be like, "Hey, I need my inspection filled out," and the guy wouldn't even go look at it. He'd just sign and give it to you. Like they didn't give a shit.
Yeah. When I was in New York, it was like they were pretty serious, and we had like cars that would fail inspection, and you couldn't get them to pass inspection without dropping hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars on a 20-year-old car. And it's like, well, you can't do anything anymore with it. It's not worth the money, but it still runs. It's a fine car, but now I have to go buy a new one. And it's like insane. Like what? How many people get screwed out of the market like that because they can't. You got to go buy a new car, and so what's wrong with it? It had a the fuel emission sensor wasn't working correctly. Doesn't actually mean there's actually more emissions coming out. It just means the sensor's broken. But you can't replace the damn sensor unless you're going to spend like $3,000 because it's under buried, and so you got to pay somebody to get at it because it's bullshit. Anyway, we don't have those down here unless you live in I don't know. I think Atlanta, Augusta, maybe Savannah. Like some of the cities down here, they have or counties, I guess. Like if you live there, you got to get your car inspected, but not out in the sticks.
Yeah. Hella stupid.
Speaking of hella stupid, hey, there we go. I knew. I was just waiting for somebody to say the right thing so I could.
I'm always good for a
Roll
segue.
Is that Patricia Arquette?
Oh, geez, she looks awful.
God.
Yeah, she is going downhill significantly.
Man.
Actress Patricia Arquette tweets Russia should be tossed from NATO, worsens the act with dyslexia excuse. All right, so this her dyslexia excuse and everything.
What happened with
tweet-
this dyslexia excuse?
Because we talked about her saying the NATO thing, right?
Has she had
Yeah,
this?
so she said that Russia should be tossed from NATO, and like the best one was the Defiant Else post that had the thing where she said, "Jesus Christ, just do a minimal amount of research," when she was talking about something. I think it was in response to like a Trump tweet from 3 years ago or something, and then put that next to her saying Russia should be tossed from NATO. That was pretty funny. But so her dyslexia excuse and everything, all the other excuses. This tweet was up for 4 hours. At the time when she took it down, it had been quote tweeted 4,300 times. I don't know how many total times it had been retweeted. The only reason that I know it had been up for 4 hours and that it had been quote tweeted 4,300 times is because I was in the process of trying to quote tweet it myself when it got removed. So like I hit quote tweet and typed out my talking shit about her and hit tweet it, and I got a notification that it couldn't go through, and then when I refreshed it, it had been deleted. So like it had been up for 4 hours, 4,300 quote tweets before she realized her mistake. And of the 4,300 quote tweets, I'm pretty sure every single one of them was saying, "You do know Russia's not in NATO, right? Like Russia's not in NATO. Hey, Russia's not in NATO." It was pretty.
Took a 2-hour nap after making that tweet. Wakes up like, oh shit.
Does she actually have dyslexia?
I mean, I just thought she was a terrible actress, but maybe she does, and that would explain why.
How?
You know,
But
How
how?
does that affect anything?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
like you're not reading, right? I mean,
and that's not
you're-
really a
you're-
backwards thing. I mean, I guess in some way it is. I guess in a logical sense.
But yeah, well, I mean, like, I don't know. Just because you're dyslexic doesn't mean you're retarded. I mean, unless that's what she's trying to tell us. I don't think that's true.
here it is.
It is the
I'm
most common mental
dyslexic.
illness in the country.
I'm dyslexic. It's in my bio and has been for years. A couple 14-hour work days later, and I flipped NATO and UN. You will live.
Is that how it works? I thought it was like letters rearranging. I didn't know it was like completely different words, just seeing different like words and acronyms where they don't belong. I don't know. Could be wrong. I don't know much about dyslexia.
So are we ableist for making fun of her for this?
I mean, does she even have it? Like, let's be real. I mean, it's probably don't even have it. It's just her excuse for being dumb as
Yeah,
shit.
dude, it's in her bio, you asshole.
It's in her-
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the best? Like Russia should join NATO and then demand that NATO bomb the ever-loving shit out of Ukraine, and then afterwards resign. Be like, yeah, this isn't for us. Thanks though.
NATO needs to be. It's really got to be renamed. Because it's just like it's not North Atlantic at all. It's not. I mean, I don't know. It's insane when you look at the size of it and what it's become, and like this is not what it is at all. And you still have you have so many people out there that are like, well, nobody's ever attacked somebody in NATO before, so this is why we need to have everybody. Everybody needs to be getting in NATO if they want. And it's just more of the same, like join the biggest gang thing, and these are like quote libertarians. It's like, no, dude, like, are you special? Like, what's going on here? Fucking gangs.
Yes, they are definitely special. They're probably dyslexic, actually. Speaking of special, there it is. Super special. A nurse.
Like your internet.
Yeah, my internet is very special.
It was taking a minute to load for me. So.
Look, I'm working out all the solutions that I can think of. So far, I've gone through about 4 different ones. So none of the 4 have had any success. Today, I'm going through a couple others, and then I've got some other stuff in the works. The hardware and stuff like that should be in either tomorrow or Friday. By God, I'm going to make this living out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere with shitty internet work somehow. Or I'm going to drop off the grid completely, which is something that I've considered anyway, and y'all can just run this show by yourselves.
Morse casting. Beep, 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 beep. Get the signal out there, buddy.
This is a good question. Why so much Russia hate? Does it go back to World War II war crimes? See, what is the...
You got to hate somebody, and most of the U.S. was, people weren't really against the Nazis. They just kind of had to be, So
that was pretty evident.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the U.S. wasn't really against the Nazis is pretty evident by the fact that following World War II, most of the Nazi scientists were brought to the U.S. and put to work for NASA and every other fucking government agency out there. Like
during the war, they were protected as much as possible. At least any of the government.
A lot of them were still working for those agencies up to their deaths within the last 15, 20 years. Like we are, for all the punch and Nazi bullshit, the U.S. has not been very good about being anti-Nazi, except in the one very, very, very specific instance of World War II, where we went to war with them, and we weren't really going to war with the Nazis. We were going to war because Japan bombed us. If Japan hadn't done anything, who knows? And I could be wrong on all that. Go ahead.
No, I think you're right. But it's interesting. Like we recognize, Operation Paperclip and all that stuff, but the other people that recognize it are like some of the crazy, like commie, like lefty types. And they're like, they use that as their justification of like why, the United States is a Nazi nation and why there's so many Nazis. Because like we knew we were importing Nazis and we did it on purpose so we'd have more Nazism here. And it's just like, I love it. I love that line of thinking. It's just insane. But I think
I think it's just logical. Why wouldn't you, if you were a big evil country? Like, why wouldn't you just import the best and brightest from the ones that you just destroyed? Like it's evil, but like it makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, leading up to the U.S.'s involvement in World War II, there was a relatively strong anti-Jewish sentiment among the United States populace, and it wasn't particularly anti-Nazi.
Yeah.
There were outside influences that resulted in the U.S. becoming involved in the way they were, and a lot of it wasn't because they necessarily disagreed with what the Nazis were doing.
That's true. I think to go back to Carlos's question, though, I think like why so much Russia hate, and it's really this is something that like I keep like rolling over in my head. Like what is it? Why is it? Like I know like Putin's not a good guy, but what do we really know about him? And everything we know about him has been, it's all state-sanctioned textbooks. I mean, we've been at the Cold War, right, for all of our life, right? For all of our lives, respectively. We've been at odds with Russia, whether, it should be or shouldn't be. I don't know. I can't see through it all. But like, we've been brought up on that Russia is this evil place and communism and blah blah blah, and like I don't know how much of that is real and how much of that is just kind of proliferated by state propaganda, by state media.
Well, I mean, to that point, like how many video games have we played over the years as kids that Russia was the bad guy? How many movies have we had where the bad guy is always some big monster Russian? Like it's and the
Rocky.
Cold War has been
Rocky?
The Cold War has been over for the majority of our lives. I mean, I was born in '83. The Cold War has been over for the majority of all of our lives, but still Russia has been the bad guy for forever, even though they haven't been.
I mean, like, the U.S. has always been like kind of number one, biggest and most dangerous army and all this bullshit. I wonder how much of it is fear that like Russia is this other place that's, geographically speaking, they're as large as the United States, and they have the potential. Whereas, China, okay, yeah, China's big, but they have lots of people, but they're all like ass backwards and, screw China. Like, we get all our goods from them. So I wonder, how much of it is just like, having an enemy gives you a purpose, right? So having someone that, you can gin up as a fall guy and, hey, look at this evil thing. And then, it's a distraction. It's a calculated distraction that you have in your back pocket. I don't know.
Ginning up is also a racist term. Did you not know that?
I don't know.
Back in the 15th century.
No, I read it. It's something about it makes fun. It's derogatory towards
are there Black
Middle
Russians
Easterners
though?
or something.
Oh,
What?
I was thinking about cotton gins. I was thinking about the cotton gins. So I thought it was Black
that makes
Russians.
sense.
No, maybe so. See, the type that I saw was like the DJIN, the gin, like a genie, and it's talking about Middle Easterners.
Is that I don't know, man.
Genie.
Are cryptids racist?
Cheating up.
Everything's racist. We've talked about this.
Man, I don't know.
Oh, so anyway, we kind of left our.
They're the drunkest sons of bitches ever.
So Putin has Parkinson's,
Allegedly.
according to some internet nurse.
Yeah, some internet nurse.
Look,
does it even
I've
say
seen
who
enough-
she is?
It's a dude, apparently.
Oh, sorry, I just assumed. Sorry, I'm sexist, guys. He could.
Yeah.
Oh, Louis Body. Wow, that's very rare, by the way. And he's saying that. Oh, one user suggested. Sorry, I derailed it. I'm looking at the article. Go ahead.
Let's see. He cut to a clip of Putin seemingly struggling to walk as he slightly stumbles on his right leg before approaching and shaking a man's hand. And so, are we just? Are we sure that he
Putin
wasn't?
and not Biden?
Yeah. Are we sure he wasn't watching a video of Biden and just got mixed up? Like maybe this nurse is also dyslexic. I don't know.
Well, so what's funny about this is that I have seen nothing about Biden in this regard. But I remember when Trump was in office, there's all sorts of articles of some person who doesn't matter, thinks that he has dementia or whatever because of something he did. And it's like, first off, you can't diagnose somebody of that from that, that accurately. I mean, Biden, come the fuck on though. You don't need to be a fucking doctor, right? but then now this about Putin, it's like, oh, of course. And just articles like this, it's like, it doesn't, the person's never anybody important or that you should listen to. They're just talking about further down. It's okay. Thousands of users commented on the viral TikTok video, many with their own speculations about Putin. Hey, I used to specialize in Parkinson's patients. You're spot on. He could also be suffering from Lewy body and this and that. This is they're quoting just random comments, as if it's medical fucking expertise. This is ridiculous.
Quoting AI bots.
Yeah, probably.
My father-in-law had a stroke, which led to vascular dementia, and we had to hide knives. This is true. It's very scary.
We have to hide the nuclear button, man. Shoot. Oh, God.
The way he walks and holds himself, these people are fucking nut jobs. Yeah, like you said though, it was almost weekly that there would be an article that would come out about Trump's mental unfitness or his body language or whatever. They talked about it nonstop. Biden is in clear mental and cognitive decline and has been since during the 2020 campaign, and they will not talk about it. They straight up will not talk about it. And one of the things that we talked about in an episode where we talked about the polling numbers and stuff, I think it was 54 or 50%, 56% of people don't believe that Biden has the mental capacity to be the president. Like the majority of people don't even think he has the mental capacity or the mental faculties to be the president, and yet they don't talk about that at all. But they take some like TikTok nurse and run a full fucking article on Putin's dementia and having Parkinson's. Like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, we already know what the fuck is going on, but yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
Have you guys ever seen the show Boss with Kelsey Grammer?
Mm-mm.
It's I think they only made a couple seasons of it, but he's like the mayor of Chicago, and he gets Lewy body, but like doesn't tell anybody, like nobody knows, but like his doctor, and you know he's the mayor of Chicago, so he's crooked and gangstery or whatever. It's pretty good if you're into whatever drama, suspensey kind of shit.
What is this? You guys mentioned it before, and so second time around, I'll ask what Lewy body.
It's like a form of dementia, but it's really rare. That's why it's so funny that this TikToker is saying that it might be this extremely rare form of, Parkinson's, based on this video. Because I think you probably have to be a specialist in that field to be able to determine that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, and where's the articles on Prince Charles? I mean, has anybody seen that guy lately? Holy shit! Oh, it's seriously.
Is he actually alive, or did they just because my wife was telling me something about somewhere in California that a research program was reanimating the brains of dead pigs. Like, are we sure that Prince Charles is actually alive, or is he just a reanimated corpse?
I don't know, man. That's like, it's interesting. Like, have world leaders always been so old?
I'm going to assume yes.
Yeah, just because like Kennedy is still like the youngest president,
Well, yeah, but he was like on the. I mean, you couldn't get much younger than him, like legally.
Right, but people lived long enough to be significantly older than him and still be president in the 1800s, apparently.
I guess.
You think they would have had a lot of presidents in the 30s because that's all who lived. Right.
It's because like you really think about it, like, and I'm not like being an ageist here, but I mean, as you get older, you can. It's tough to be sharp, It's tough to like hold on to it all and think about it, and that's not like disparaging anybody. It's just a fact, and there's nothing wrong with that. But
I'm already losing it.
Right? I know. I don't even know when my kids' birthdays are anymore. Like, and I don't know. So what do we do? You put a cap on age, you have to pass a test before you can become president, not be retarded.
I mean, I've been saying for years you should have to pass a test just to be eligible to vote. So
yeah, I know. I like that one.
I've been saying we shouldn't do any of that shit for years. We shouldn't be voting.
Not that Dag is a proponent of voting at all, but but that's part of why I think you should be required to take a test. Like, if somebody voluntarily does not want to participate in the voting process, cool, that's your choice. If you do want to vote in the participate in the voting process, you should have to verify at least a minimum level of intelligence and knowledge of what's going on, what you're voting for, what's being talked about. Like, there should be some baseline cutoff for, if you don't at least have this minimal amount of understanding of what you're voting for, then you don't get to have a say, because you clearly are just you're going to fuck it up because you don't know what you're doing. I digress.
That midwits. The midwits are the scariest people running my life.
They've had pre-filled out tests that they just give people.
Yeah.
Speaking of midwits, let's see. Oh, what the hell? Where'd it go?
Dude, your internet is so slow.
There it is. Sorry.
Did we have a test for?
Women have disrupted research on birdsong, and their findings show how diversity can improve all fields of science. So did y'all read this article? Look at it very much?
What the fuck is this? I hadn't gotten to this one yet.
You sent like all of them like 20 minutes before the show, so no. I have not seen them.
I sent all of them 3 hours ago. Thank you very much. But-
He did. I didn't read this one. I'm sorry. I got the other ones.
okay, so the
Diversity.
gist of this article, as y'all peruse it, the gist of the article is that historically they believed that bird songs were primarily the male birds, and that was used during mating, and that the research that had historically been done on that was done primarily by males. And so now there are females coming in to research, and these females who are coming into research are finding that female birds also sing, and that it's possible that song in birds actually originated from the females, and then for some reason, over time, the female birds forgot how to sing or stopped singing. But there are singing female birds, and the female scientists have discovered this, and that's why diversity and having more inclusion in the sciences is important, because more diversity adds to creates a more diverse understanding and knowledge and discovery.
So are we saying that like it's possible that Darwin was wrong about some stuff? Because that's what it says here, and like the first thing is that this was what Charles Darwin said, was that it was men, right? Or the male birds.
I mean,
So I'm just wondering if we're allowed to admit that Charles Darwin might not have been right about everything yet.
I think he admitted it a little bit too at the end.
He definitely did, but people don't. It's funny because so there's this episode of Bullshit, the Penn and Teller show, and they were trying to prove like creationists wrong, and so they asked some scientists because somebody said, "Oh, Darwin didn't believe some of his shit." He questioned it, and they asked some scientists. Scientists were like, "No, he believed all his stuff. He never said that." It's like, dude, you can't say he never said that. You can't know what you haven't read everything he ever wrote, But at any rate, yeah, dude, but if you ask people who treat science as a religion, fuck no. Darwin is a god to them. I know people with Darwin tattoos. It's crazy.
The really crazy thing about that is a lot of his like later life, especially like as he was approaching death, like a lot of the stuff that he talked about, like he really kind of changed his opinion on some things and started to look at the world in a different perspective and through a different light, and like, but all of that gets ignored. Like they don't want to look at any of the last 5 or 6 years of his life. They only want to focus on.
That's because he was old and his mental faculties were no good anymore. He
probably had Lewy body.
Lewy body. There you
go. I was able to diagnose it by some of his writings.
You could tell from the pictures just the way he was holding himself and standing.
By his 9 inbred children.
I mean, how do you figure, like, I don't know. I think this is a problem with science in general. I don't think it's necessarily a diversity thing, but like, foraging, right? This is just an example, but like, if you look at a lot of the literature out there on milkweed, you got to boil it 3 times. The sap is really bitter, and you can't, if you eat it plain, if you eat it without boiling, it's bitter and it's unpalatable. They've traced that back to like somebody in, I don't remember, I want to say it was like the 20s or something like that, wrote this. It's not true. It's not true at all. You can go pick it and cook it, and it's fine. As it gets older, it gets a little tougher, but when it's younger, the sap has nothing to do with flavor. But it just got repeated over and over and over again, and so it became part of the sort of paradigm of foraging. Yeah, milkweed, you got to boil it. Everybody knows that, and it's just factually not true. And so with science, like, yeah, somebody puts out an idea, and okay, we believe it, and it gets batted around, and it becomes part of the lore. I think we saw that same thing with like all this COVID crap. One person says it and everybody repeats it, and it has to be true. It's true because and it's not. It's just that they created an experiment. They did something, and whatever they were testing, that you know what I mean. Like there's another one. Crap, I can't remember it exactly. There's 2 scientists. One believed in like ESP, and the other guy didn't. And they argued back and forth, and they did experiments that were kind of the same. And so one day they created an experiment together, and they put them together in side-by-side rooms, and they're watching their subjects do this test. I don't know if they were like, predicting cards or whatever. And the scientists were separated. They watched the same thing. They heard the same things. They saw the same experiment unfold, and they came up with like completely different results. Like they just, I'm pretty sure that's how it went. I forget where I saw that, but it was like, it's like, it's a perspective thing. And I don't think that has to do with whether you have a penis or a vagina, or you're white or you're black or you're Asian. Like, it's just perspective and being open to it. I think science is very closed-minded to disrupting previous held beliefs. I don't know. Sorry for the.
Well, that's something that it talks about. No. I mean, that's something that it talks about here in this article. Like in the very first paragraph, it says, scientists are held up as, or idealized as unbiased, objective observers, but scientists are affected by conscious and unconscious biases, just like literally everybody else. So yeah, I mean, science. That's why science is not supposed to be something that's approached as settled. That's why science is not something that's supposed to be approached as a definitive. Even the things that seem to be anyway scientifically definite. How many of those things that were like proven to be pure fact at some point in the future, at some point throughout the course of human history, have later been discovered to have been not quite right, and that there was something more to it, or there is no such thing as settled science. It's all in flux. Like, I mean,
the heliocentric model versus the geocentric model. Like, I mean, I know that's old and outdone, but like, man, they put people in jail over that. You think somehow we've changed that much, But just think about like feeling the bumps on your head. I mean, nephrology used to be like a real thing. People used to believe in that shit. Or, the size of your dong has to do with like how smart you are, and the bigger it is, the dumber you are, and how much racist science did that. Like, like these are things that happen.
Right. You sound really smart for somebody who has the brain pan of a stagecoach tilter. So sorry, I'm just really into phrenology, man. I think it's great. Yeah. I mean, I can't believe we ever gave it up, man. Get out a set of calipers. I'll tell you all about a person.
Yes, the bigger, because bigger thing. That's why we're so smart on this show.
Change this to the micro dong after.
Oh shit!
It's amazing. It's amazing when you have children, really, when I think about it.
But the theory of bigger equals dumb was come up with by a bunch of European white people back in the 17 and 1800s as they were seeing them get off the boat. They're like, yeah, there's no way they're smart. That means we must be really smart.
Tiny whites.
It was. I'm not joking. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, but yeah, you have the black, white, and then Asian, and it was size thing, and it's like, here we are, striated by intelligence, and that's
so what you're saying is we're the midwits. We're the midwits. All right.
Yeah.
Well, did they have they had like the pictures of like the heads with the different zones on it, and depending on like what part, like different shapes. Like, it was a whole thing, man. Okay, so I go on about this all the time because it's so amazing and it's a long book. But the Devil's Chessboard, and they're talking about a lot of like Nazi experiments that were done here in the United States, by the way, per our conversation earlier. But just like the insanity of some of these like scientists, just what they thought they could do, and they were just destroying people. Oh no, just the right amount of torture and LSD. We'll get this right. It's just crazy. And then we just gotta electrocute
them a little bit more. Yeah, just electrocute them a little bit more. If we just shock their brain in the right, we're just not quite getting the right spot. We gotta You got to stick that electrode a little further up their nose, and we'll hit the right part of their brain to send the shockwaves into, and then
They'll be
we'll have
cured.
it fixed. Yeah.
What about like the Tuskegee experiments, right? I mean, we all know about that. They gave, let people have syphilis and lied to them and watched them and saw how that went. And then when that got shut down, they went to Guatemala and did it, where there was no like oversight, and they didn't just let people like get syphilis. They gave people syphilis. They took, there was one lady, they put like gonorrhea and herpes and shit in her eye and let people get sick. The orphans, the
That's just what
prostitutes.
she's saying.
Well, she died, man. She died from like these experiments, and it's like this shit happened like recently, and people don't realize that. Scientists are heroes, and they all have this god complex, and
they sprayed diseases in the United States like as recently as the 60s and 70s, like aerially. And it's one of those things where, things like the whole limited hangout thing, or maybe that's not the right word here, but like where the thing where they, it's so easy to make fun of people for like chemtrails, and it's almost like that conspiracy theory is put out there to sort of cover up the very real times that they did spray diseases from crop dusters over cities in the United States. Like that happened, documented several times. So like, but if you mention it, you sound crazy because chemtrails are crazy, right? So it's, but I mean, they did it. I mean, it's fucking Korea.
Yeah,
we did it in North Korea in the Korea War.
And that's what's crazy though too. I think like if you say that, if you mention these things, a lot of people are like, oh, you're crazy, conspiracy, like blah blah blah. Like it's documented, like it's there. The government has like admitted to it, like this is what happened, but you still give them your undying trust and give them your soul, and it's like, man, what is wrong with people that just can't think for yourself? I don't know.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
It is.
It's because the thing is like there might be conspiracy theorists, bro. Like just look, just put on the fucking glasses, like from They Live. Just put on the glasses, dude. Oh shit. Uh-oh. I think we lost Justin. It's you and me.
Did we really?
No, I don't know.
I was looking at articles. Yeah, apparently.
We do we want to move on to another article? We've got this animation guild one.
I didn't read any of them because I'm not gonna lie, I took a nap after I put the kids on the bus.
No worries. Well, so this one, I guess, is just people are upset that Disney hasn't come out against this Florida Don't Say Gay bill. Are you familiar with this? Have you heard about this?
I'm semi-familiar with the Don't Say Gay bill.
Depending on who's talking about it, it sounds like a very different thing, depending on what side you're on when you're talking about it. But yeah, I guess
I see y'all transitioned without me.
Yeah, sort of. You disappeared, and I didn't know what to do, and I freaked out. So I said, let's talk about this article.
So sorry, my stepdaughter is homesick today, and so I just got a text for her appointment time, so I had to go tell her, "Hey, get your ass up. We got to leave here in about 30 minutes."
We're just starting to talk about what the Don't Say Gay bill is. Before we got into this here,
have you looked at that? Like, so this whole that could not possibly be a worse description of that bill. Like the Don't Say Gay bill might be the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen as an explanation of it. It's so the bill in and of itself is it's basically, it just says that you will not teach sexual orientation and that type of stuff up through the third grade.
To third grade.
Yeah.
Fair.
Right. Like kindergartners through third graders don't need to be. I would argue that should go up to the sixth grade. Like I don't know that they need to be. That shouldn't be a part of any curriculum.
Trad and shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm, usually a little more libertine than most, but like no, that's no. You don't need to do that shit.
That's
get your kids out of public schools first off. But like,
yep. And that's like. I don't know. I mean, like, how is that not left up to the parents? Like, how is there any debate that, like, this should be left up to the parents? I don't know. Why are schools teaching about that stuff?
They're claiming it's a freedom of speech. Like again, like I was saying before, Justin jumped back on. Like it's depending on what news outlet I'm hearing about this thing from. it just sounds like you hear about it on NPR and this bill that's going to cripple the speech of teachers, because they're not allowed to talk about, whatever to, first graders. And then, on the right, it's, the bill that's going to stop perverted government bureaucrats from teaching butt sex to your children, so it's I've been a little confused about what it actually meant, but from reading this, it seems like it's just they've been allowed to talk about sexual orientation between kindergarten and third grade. Okay,
right. Like I didn't see any. I've read through the bill. I didn't see anything that specifically indicates that it is anti-LGBTQ plus what the fuck ever else. It simply states that you cannot teach, that you don't teach sexual orientation or. Basically just removes the sex talk from elementary school.
I saw someone mention that, like, and I haven't read it, so I don't know, but it was like, if teachers know that a child is LGBTQ plus or whatever, that they then need to like let the parents know. So basically, the concern is that these kids that aren't out to their parents are going to get outed to their parents, and that could be bad when they go back to their trailer and their drunk daddy beats them for putting on a dress. I don't know. I think that's kind of like one of the fears. Now, I don't know if that actually is what this bill says. I just know it was one of the things that I saw that could be problematic.
The bill is going to make it where teachers have to tattle on their students.
Something like that, where they're kind like,
you better
right
act
now,
straight around your teachers. Holy shit, man. What if you get some really liberal teacher who's like, oh, little Timmy, I think he's gay. I'm going to go give his parents the good news.
Yeah. I mean, look, if your kid is gay, like you probably have a inclination. You probably know, right? Like unless you're like very absent as a parent, you're gonna know your kid is into things that you might not have been into as a child.
Baton.
Yeah.
My daughter's a sociopath. I mean, it's it is what it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, look where she lives. Look who she lives with. She's in a flyover state, living with like you and your dogs. I mean,
and spears and shit.
Spear chuckers.
Whoa, easy, buddy.
Oh wow.
So
too early.
So this article, I guess, is people are upset that Disney hasn't condemned the bill enough publicly.
What's Disney supposed to do though? Okay, so
yeah,
that's been a thing that's been
give
going on
gay
throughout
people
all
free cruises on their cruise line.
See, that's been a big thing that's been going out throughout all of COVID, is that Disney should be using its size and influence to dictate Florida law as far as like DeSantis. So at least from the left's perspective, Disney should have been using its power and its influence and its size and its draw to dictate Florida's response to COVID and everything like that. And DeSantis and the state of Florida have basically not given a shit. And so Disney has, to some extent, had to do what the state of Florida says instead of vice versa, which I don't like it either way, honestly. Like if Florida, or if Disney is using its influence to sway the Florida government and what happens there, that's not good. But at the same time, like, Florida forcing Disney to do what it says is also not good. Like, and I think in this case, I don't think Disney has really said or done anything about it, which is probably appropriate. Disney shouldn't be involved in this because they have nothing to do with it. It's about parents, teachers, schools, period. And the whole reason that you're starting to see a lot of this stuff, I mean, it's part of why Youngkin was elected in Virginia was over the school stuff and CRT and everything. You're seeing this a lot, and not just in red states. Like you're seeing it in purple areas and even in some blue areas. And actually, I'll send y'all an article for something that I wanted to talk about on Friday's show. Like a lot of progressivism, especially the like radically woke progressivism, is getting pushed back against severely across the board. And that's not just by like a bunch of alt-right, neo-Nazi, KKK members. Like the extremely woke progressivism is getting pushed back across the board by everybody. And that's what you're seeing with bills like this that are, and stuff like what happened in Virginia with Youngkin getting elected is people are seeing what these schools are doing, and parents are seeing that and saying, no, we don't want our kids subjected to that. And so it's kind of changing the tide of things. And Disney shouldn't have any involvement in that. Like that's not Disney. Disney doesn't have any place in setting school policy. It's a tourist attraction. They should have nothing to do with it.
It's imagine if like some right-leaning company decided to do that, right? And influence laws, right? You'd have a fit. And I mean, isn't that what the big pharma does and plays with prices? Isn't that what like big oil does? I mean, that's what we have right now as a system in place. We have these corporations using the government to like make their laws to do things for them, and that's a problem. And here you have people like saying this is what they should do. Like what's you don't see how this is going to end really badly. Like I mean, shit.
That was basically my point too. Is that so now you want big oligarchical companies dictating policy? Like that's the kind of thing you think that progressives would be against. And I mean, Disney is huge. It at least used to be the largest private employer in the state of Florida. So, I mean, yeah, they could have a lot of sway, if they wanted to. They hold a lot of jobs and everything. They're a quasi-autonomous government. Like, they're technically like their own city. They're allowed to have their own nuclear reactor if they want it. Like, the whole Disney thing, like, at least in Florida, I don't know how it works out in California, but in Florida and Orlando and the whole story about how it came to be, like, it's pretty fucking interesting. But yeah, they're kind of like a government. Like, they're kind of like their own city. But they're like, a corporation, so it's kind of interesting.
I don't know much about Disney. I've heard that before, and I've wanted to dig into it a little bit. I'm really surprised that Disney hasn't picked up more traction in sort of liberty anarchist thought as a sort of an example of like, okay, this can happen, and here's kind of an example of how it could happen. Now there's different tweaks and different things you might do, but
the way their security works there, I have heard people use that example, and because it is incredible. Like if you watch a video of a fight breaking out, boom, very calmly dressed people just arrive and break it up.
Mickey Mouse comes out with his baton.
Dude, there's underground tunnels under the whole place, so they fucking take you underground to take you somewhere, and nobody sees anything. It's crazy, dude. Yeah.
Pluto and Goofy finally get the revenge.
But yeah, I totally agree, man. There are a lot of good points to be made about Disney.
That is the dark side of Disney that you're not supposed to know about. They've got the underground Thunderdome, so whenever fights break out, they collect you, they take you down into the tunnels, you go to the Thunderdome. That's where all the billionaires are down there. It's basically like glorified bum fights. They let you go in there and just beat the hell out of each other, and they take bets on it. It's a lot of fun.
Regular people get Disney Plus. The oligarchs get Disney Platinum, where you can go down and see that shit.
You could make a ton of money if you just put Mickey Mouse in the ring or something, and you could pay to go like fight Mickey Mouse, right? Like
I want to fight
Donald Duck. Yeah, there you go. Right, you'd pay for that. You might bring the peanut butter down with you, but we won't talk about that.
Oh fuck!
What do you know about CRT? Carlos asked, and I'm curious as well. Have we talked about it here before? I don't know.
I know I have on my show, but I don't think we've talked about it on this show. CRT, as it is in its current inception, is not what CRT was when it was created.
Yeah.
The ideas and the premise behind it are not entirely terrible. The initial goal of it was not what it, but that's the problem, is it is not now what it was at its inception. So like the current iteration of CRT is everything terrible that they say that it is, unfortunately. Like, and to Carlos's point, like Ben Burgess makes some good arguments against the right-wing narrative about CRT. Ben Burgess's arguments and a lot of the other arguments that I've heard are not factually incorrect. They are misplaced for current society. A lot of the arguments in favor of CRT are based on what CRT was created as, intended as, and initially was to be, not what it has become.
Critical thinking for like college students and shit as like just a different way of looking at things is what I heard. And like, yeah, you're not supposed to be teaching this shit to like elementary school kids. This is just like thought experiment kind of shit.
Right. It has been transformed and morphed into a tool to push, I guess reverse racism is really like the best way to describe it. Like it's you can't be racist against white people, obviously, so that's why it's not racism, but that's what it has become, but that's not what it was at its inception. So to Carlos's point, yes, Ben Burgess and a lot of other people make some really good points, but
Thaddeus
their
Russell
points
is who I heard.
They're at least as far as I can tell, their points are culturally and currently invalid based on what it is now. Because they're talking about what it was and what it's supposed to be. And you can talk about what things ideally would be and what they're intended as until you're blue in the face. That doesn't change the fact that, like, I mean, look at everything the fucking government does. It's all has these great intentions and these great ideas behind it. But if you look at what it is, what it becomes, like the police state that we have, it's just because it was founded with good intentions doesn't mean what it is today is actually that, or even anything remotely good. So that's kind of where I am on CRT, and we can do like a deep dive and talk amongst ourselves and actually devote like an episode to really breaking it down. Like that's hard to do with the last like 5 minutes of the show.
I didn't know a ton about it, but basically what Justin said is basically, for the most part, what I'd heard. Yeah, I'd heard Thaddeus Russell, or he saw some tweets or something. And he was saying, yeah, like basically, like yeah, like what it was might have been like fine, like it was for a certain purpose, but yeah, it's not. This isn't how you're supposed to use it. You're not supposed to teach the fucking kids like this. It's just supposed to be like thought experiment kind of thing or something. And if I'm misquoting you, I'm sorry. I'm sure he listens to the show, but something to that effect. So that's about the extent. That kind of makes sense to me based on what everything else I've heard, But yeah, man, I don't think that's the kind of shit you need to be teaching to fucking children, public school children. I mean, I don't even think college kids these days are smart enough for that shit, but that's a different story. That's just a progressive dumbing down of all that shit.
Well, if y'all don't have anything else, I've got to go force a kid to get out of bed and put some clothes on and then throw some shoes on myself so we can go to her doctor's appointment. And I'll give a quick little teaser for what are you running your mouth about? Oh, she's already dressed, she says. I'll believe that when I see it. Leave a quick teaser for Friday's episode. This is from the article that I'm going to send you also. Get ready. That's every bit as scary as what she looks. Did it ever pop up for y'all? Or
nope, I didn't see anything.
No, I didn't see anything.
Well, perfect. Then nobody gets the teaser. Fuck all y'all. I'm the only one who knows what we're doing. Let's try that again.
Ooh,
it's like every
for
show.
Us too.
All right, hang on.
What's today? Wednesday? Is this for Friday?
So yeah, this will be for Friday.
Get to see whether I'll be here or not.
You won't be. We already know. Did it show up yet?
No.
What the hell?
I don't know, man. What are you doing? You fucking this up, dude?
Probably.
Oh, there we go. Who's that, Kamala?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
Close enough. No,
cool.
It's the British Kamala. So.
Oh.
I didn't think about that before. But yeah, it's the British Kamala. So yeah, we'll be talking about her on Friday, amongst other things. Hope everybody has a good rest of your day. Y'all got anything fun going on today?
Not really. I'm gonna eat some food when we get off here. I'm hungry.
Well, go get some food. Don't starve to death. Clyde, I'm sure we'll see you next Wednesday here sometime.
I think I'll be here on Friday. Pretty sure.
Sweet.
All right, time to roll.
All right. Take care, fellas.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.